like there were moments where I was like, I've exaggerated everyone's character very much. Like I think that all of the characters in the movie are way worse people than than my family members.
This house will be clean!
Is worried you're not taking the astral travel thing seriously.
Dad!
Do you see a light at the end of a tunnel? Go towards it.
Go towards it. Don't go towards it. That's how they get you.
Are you still talking to this asshole?
Yes.
What's going on, everybody? Nigeria Chambers here from Bierko Built Media. Very, very excited today to talk about a new project. I have a lot of questions about, but ultimately, I'm really here to share so much flowers and love for the success thus far. Izzy, thank you so much for your time today. Izzy Roland here, who's wearing multiple hats with this film, but more importantly, this is as listed as inspired by autobiography, independent project about your life and your complicated relationship with your father that I got a chance to check out early. It is called Dead. We don't necessarily have a release date yet, but we have a lot of progress and information that is available for you right now at the Kickstarter, which I will have in the description below. I just want to ask you, just getting to this point right now, because there's some insane statistics and stats or information I want to talk about with the success of this so far. But just to this point right now, you're doing press for the film. Just how are you taking it all in?
I hope I'm processing it well and appropriately, but it is really shocking and fantastic, I would say. I never would have imagined that this is how my first movie would have taken shape, but I mean there's no greater compliment than just like people power. Um
Yeah.
and it's really, really incredible.
Absolutely, absolutely. So most of y'all do know when I'm here talking about independent projects, I always like to plug in the date where you can find it at and so on. But I had an early opportunity to check out the film, which I will talk about that in 1 second. But as I mentioned, you want to step over to the Kickstarter, which will give you all of the information, be a part of the campaign, and then you get a lot of goodies and stuff as well too
So
here.
the Kickstarter actually ended a while ago, but right
Did
now,
it?
yeah, the Kickstarter was very successful to help with our
Okay.
post production. And
Okay.
now if you go to the website, deadthefilm.com, that has all of our screenings, which are sort of like multiplying by the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get on the right page here. Because first of all, I definitely still want to talk about the Kickstarter really quickly because
Oh,
I
sure.
saw that it had an initial goal of 75K
Yeah.
and in 3.5 hours was like no problem, no worries. And then ultimately I saw as of today, it had ultimately ended at this rate now at $258,000. So within context that you have the new website, which I'll make sure that is plugged,
Thank
to
you.
understand that you had an initial goal of 75. And I don't even want to sit here and be a mathematician here, but I'm just going to guess four times the amount that you had initially planned for. And you talked
Yeah.
about the people power, but like there's one thing to believe in the people, much like I do, but like when the evidence is there, it's indefutable that the love, the support, the passion that you had that everybody else is valuing and also may even share. Like, how do you even take that into account? And then at some point, put your head on a pillow at night and be like, holy hell, like this is happening right now.
You paint and you've sort of nailed it, honestly, Najir. It's like it's beyond comprehension. Like I we the entire success of the Kickstarter campaign is thanks to a man named Laser Weber, who is a just a genius in
Yeah.
terms he does a lot of these campaigns and is now going on to produce and is like in charge of our distribution and marketing for the movie because he was just so exemplary and capable and competent in and knowledgeable. I truly think he like is going to be the king of Hollywood, like is cementing a new way of doing things
Yeah.
in this industry that is just so inspiring, and I feel so grateful to have been a part of that.
Yeah.
Um, but the the emotions are so overwhelming. I mean,
Yeah.
to have support, I never would have imagined that I had this much support. And it doesn't feel like it's just for me, like it's for the entire project. It's for everybody who worked on it. It's just, and I think that people like, it was Laser's idea to adopt this message of like, this is direct to consumer. This is like, we're not involving big companies, corporations, studios, networks. Like, there aren't big gatekeepers at desks deciding what media people get to see or what gets made. This is like putting out a pitch to the world going, hey, we want to make this, and people going, I'm giving money to you to do it.
Hell
And
yeah.
it's just like it feels like it's opened my eyes to like what's possible in this industry.
Yeah.
And it's like time for the revolution. Like let's go.
Hell yes. Man, I'm gonna tell you something offline, but hell yes. That's
Hell
all I gotta say.
yeah.
But yeah, deadtofilm.com, 344% funded on Kickstarter. Your first screening sold out, of course, on the 10th in North Hollywood. But you can check out all the local dates in your local city, going all the way to
And all of those
the
have been acquired because we just reached out directly to fans or like
hell
told
yeah.
people to tag their local movie theaters. Like it's completely we applied to to the three big festivals
Yeah.
and didn't get in and went fuck that. I
Yeah. Yeah.
don't want to deal with people telling us no, so we're
Hell
not.
yeah. Also, I see there's a lot of love for my home area, Washington, D.C.,
Oh yeah.
926 to 1017. So y'all better show up here
I
for real.
know, I know. We got hooked up with a really, really amazing theater that we're like, we want to show it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
It's just it's incredible.
You do you know what theater that is? Or can I
Um,
check actually here?
Porterhouse or Potterhouse, I think.
Yeah. Oh, the Potter House. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Amazing.
yeah.
Amazing. That's fantastic. Um, My first question in this is, I'm just when it comes down to independent film and filmmaking and filmmakers, it's always going to be a yes for me. And seeing that you have a project that is very personal to you, I would say, and then you're also doing it with your family and close friends and folks that believe in you. I mean, there's people that say they have passion projects, and then there's just this. I mean, like, let's just keep it 100 here. But family is complicated,
Yeah.
and to go off on a limb to make your first project about something so sensitive to you, and dare I might say, uh, working through the trauma, the word used earlier, processing
Mm.
things here. What and how does one embark in such a courageous direction of storytelling? And what have you learned about yourself through this? And I really want that to be sort of a focus within mental health, because I think as we continue to normalize conversations around mental health, as we find ways to express ourselves in our creativity and in just in self, period, by working through all of the different things around us, including the societal traumas, the generational traumas, the family traumas. I mean, in every direction I look at this, I sit here and the first thing I think is like, how? Because at some point, this the weight of telling a story that's so heavy to you, the
Mhm.
idea of going through the unknown of what does it mean to put a project like this into the world? What does it mean for people to receive something that's so personal to you? The folks that will they support me, which they did, 344% and a shit ton of folks. But like, there's so many unknowns for somebody to wake up one day and say, "This is what I want to do," and then ultimately you've done it, and now the success is here, and the backing's here, and it's getting ready to be put into the world. But like, how does one embark in that, and then how does one process through such a journey?
Um, wow. I really appreciate every single thing that you've said. You have uh just like fully linked, you've locked in to like every um aspect of the movie. I'm really grateful that you were able to see all of that. And you know, it felt like, honestly, it felt like a very natural story to tell. I come from a family, a show business family of comedians. My mom is a very successful, very talented writer, TV writer, um, who has written primarily autobiographical work. Mine, I would say, has a bit more of a magical, supernatural spin to it. So this was like a very obvious sort of child of that. Um, and I, is your question sort of like how does it feel? How does it happen? All of it?
Yeah.
Um, it how it happens is like, yeah, it felt pretty natural. I like, I had a really fortuitous moment of like reading a book that feels like it's speaking directly to you, which was Robert Rodriguez's Director Without a Crew. And it felt like he was like taking my head and being like, Izzy, listen, use what you have, use what's
Mm.
at your disposal. Like, I had been sort of grinding as a comedian and a writer and an actor for like all of my 20s. And you learn the hard way that this like dream of someone, of just one person, again behind a desk, who like thinks that you're the most talented one, is just going to pick you one day and it's all going to be, easy after that. And that is just not the reality for the
Yeah.
majority of people. Like, everyone I know and work with on a daily basis is the most talented person I've ever met.
Yeah.
And like, you really have to make it happen for yourself. And what Robert Rodriguez says in the book is like, use what is at your disposal. He was like, I have a sister. I made movies that my sister was going to be in. I had a really shitty camera, so I made the movies that were going to work for my shitty camera. And
Mm.
like throughout my 20s, I had been writing like my dream scripts and stuff like that, where it's like $1 million action comedies and stuff like that, and was like, well, these can't be made. Like, this is the kind of stuff where you're like, maybe it'll get to someone's desk and they'll want to make it. And I like, after reading that book, was like, I need to make something that is makeable. So like, using my family, who thankfully are very funny and very talented, and using
Yeah.
our apartments that
Yeah.
we live in. Um, and then it just took off from there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really powerful film, and I watched through it the first time to prepare for this, and then I went through it and kind of really kicked back and watched it, and really was
Uh-huh.
trying to weave through some of the messages and trying to process some of the stuff myself, and that's why I just kept letting on the thought of, while I do have some stories and things that I'm working through very much, generational trauma.
Mhm.
I just don't have the bravery to say, here, world, here's everything that has really, like, been a struggle for me in life. Hope you like it. And if you don't like it, then oh man, that's gonna be interesting too. Because I'm sitting here in a puddle of tears trying to figure out what I'm gonna do next. But good thing is everybody will like this and they will relate to this because it is such a powerful film. And while I am talking about the heavier themes, the comedy is just top tier. It's so organic. I'm sure because it's your family, this was probably one of the easiest scripts to write because you just knew what folks were capable of. You say, here, and let me just put you in the setting, and here you who you're going to riff off of. Do
Yeah.
your thing. Talk to me a little bit about the process of the family collaboration, and then ultimately, was there any moments that you look back in filming and was very special or meaningful or just surprising to you?
Yeah, well, I mean, you make a good point. Like, there were moments where I was like, I've exaggerated everyone's character very much. Like I think that all of the characters in the movie are way worse people than the people than my family members and I am. So they're just sort of like characters that represent those people.
Yeah.
But there are times where I'm like, I'm really sort of laying it all out here, and I'm a little worried how they're going to take it. And thankfully they, I don't know, didn't aren't observant enough or didn't take it personally. So thankfully that was not a problem.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you're right. It was like I have been joking with these people for my entire life. So I know what jokes are going to work the best with
Yeah.
them. And there were like obviously hurdles and bumpers that we were hitting pretty consistently, and like you get annoyed with people like you would on any job. But even more so because they're your family and
Yeah.
you're used so much more sensitive with
Yeah.
them. Um but it was immaculate. It felt like a project like 30 years in the that we
Yeah.
pre-production for 30 years of me growing up.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very
Give me the BTS. We gotta figure that out. I need all of it. All of
okay,
it.
great.
By the way, I wore this shirt because I was sitting here and I figured if I had told you that I was really digging Tilly style and could I possibly get that shirt? And I'd be like, yeah, I got a shirt kind of like it. He'd be like, oh, he's just talking. So I said, I'll show up in the shirt and still ask, and we can see what happens. Because there's one thing I
Oh
like is a little
my.
flower petal on the shirt
Well,
here. So
I love yours. That's amazing.
good old trade here. Let's make it
Those,
happen.
those are all my clothes. So we can definitely have a conversation.
Absolutely. I love the fashion in the film too,
Thank
just to go full
you.
circle with that. With my time coming up, I definitely want to talk about a particular part of the film. I ain't gonna say where it's at because I don't want to give anything away.
Okay.
But there is a part where I wrote in my notes, is it the message or is it the messenger? And it is about when Tilly is being asked, what do you want? And it's not instantly answered. And that hit. I got
Wow.
pause. Let me sit here and let me figure out this real quick. That one right there, I was done. So I want to ask you with that particular scene. And there's others if I had the time because it's definitely expressed on. What does the power in the message in the creation of a scene like that where you have somebody asking somebody what do they want the person's coming from, but is it ultimately the message or is it who the message is coming from? How do one sort of like dissect that moment? And then one other thing, because of the time, I really want to throw this one in too, is the soccer references throughout that. Is that something personal to you, or is that something that's added in for the film?
Um, I it's so awesome to hear like what hit for people because it everyone's personal experiences are so different, so how they see media is always going to be so different, and that just means so much to me. Those moments were really powerful for me to write because I'm writing from the perspective of this person who I've known and loved my entire life, but who is gone. Like, it's I was like I would get really worried about like doing bad by my dad in a
Mm,
way of like portraying him in a way that I didn't want to. And um so to write that felt really real. I think that we've had a lot of moments throughout our relationship where he doesn't understand me and
mm,
wants me to understand him. He felt very misunderstood his whole life, like whether that was warranted or not, like he just felt very self-righteous and entitled and felt like people didn't get him. Um, and so to be able to make that moment happen is just like, I don't know, movies are fucking magic. Like
yeah.
it's just it's a superpower to be able to be like I think this is what my dad felt
Mm,
and make that moment, and the soccer stuff is completely non-fictional. That is completely from my life and is one of if not the most powerful memory I have with my dad, of him speaking of superpowers, like giving me this power of bravery and confidence. And it's like figuring out once you've lost someone and you've lost someone who's been really complicated and given you a lot of pain over the years, going through your life holding on to the moments that were the most impactful and joyful and that you shared together, as opposed to the suffering, because you're the one who's left with the memories. They're gone, they're free from all of it. And so celebrate being able to celebrate that has been extremely emotional.
Mm, 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 mm. Well, I got to say, I'm super excited for you from this point beyond, because you're right, the magic in storytelling and artistry, and passion, community, is an example of why we get work like that. It's special. It's special. Can't even get my words
That's
together because there's things I want to say, and I'm like, I gotta
that
rap, and I don't want to cry here, but it's
That
really
means
special.
so much, Najir. It's so nice to meet you, and it's really,
Very
really
nice to meet you
wonderful for
too.
me to hear you say all of that.
Absolutely.
Really
Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for embarking in this journey, putting this golden goose egg out here in the world. Deadthefilm.com is where you can see where your local screening, where we're having its world premiere, 9/10, sold out already in North Hollywood, and dates running all the way to through November 1st. Izzy, thank you so much for your time today. Congratulations. I really
appreciate. Thank
appreciate it.
you.
Absolutely.